This Week in Astrology. It's brought to you by www.hoodmystic.com. I'm El Melchizedek, the Hood Mystic, and today we're going to talk about Saturn and Capricorn along with the full moon in Cancer. So it's going to be an interesting build. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now. I just been busy with some other stuff, but finally got some time to do some research and really compile a wonderful article. If you want to check it out, don't be afraid to visit us at www.hoodmystic.com, where we just keeping it current with metaphysical ideas, occult technology, just breaking shit down, cracking codes, man. So here we go. So we want to talk about Capricorn because Capricorn has the Sun, Saturn, and Venus conjunct in that sign. So first, the sign is like the shade or the tint. It's 12 signs, and then there's a myriad of planets, asteroids, and things that interact with these 12 signs. So in some circles there's 13 signs, but for conversation we're going to just discuss these 12 signs. So Capricorn is derived from the Latin word Capra, which means goat, which is just a symbol for God of all things, G-O-A-T. The ancients looked at the goat and realized its supreme way of thinking. Well, not just the Inyo goat, the mountain goat. The mountain goat would ascend to the mountain to get food that no other animal could really access, no other land animal anyways, as far as like the berries and the different trees that resided on the top of the mountain. So that symbolically stood for how God works within us. So Capricorn represents the ascension of the spirit, really the dedication and the hard work that goes into ascension. A lot of people think spirituality and spirit, just occult and magic and all of these things are easy things to accomplish, but they really take a level of dedication and hard work that most people aren't ready to really apply themselves to actually access. So we can really understand that being grounded with a particular principle, with a particular goal, with a particular aim, it becomes very possible once we start to utilize the energy of Capricorn, because we're not just, hoping for $1 million. If we are hoping for $1 million, what we are saying with Capricorn is that we're willing to put in the work to achieve $1 million. So it's just not senseless bullshit that we just utter and desires and things of that nature. It is real plans and real goals that we are dedicated enough, just like the goat, to climb the highest of mountains, to have the different types of sustenance, and it's not to be fighting and clawing around at the bottom of the mountain with all the other animals, getting all the scraps, but being able to ascend to get the manna from heaven. So Saturn in Capricorn is December 2017 to 2020 actually. Saturn in Sagittarius was from 2014 to 2017. December 20th is when Saturn actually entered into Capricorn. And so what I'm noticing is that people are feeling a little different. People are not really understanding the energy. I think that technology and society has made us think that if everything is easy, then it ain't right. So when we deal with the particular difficulties and the different structures and disciplines and things that we need to really focus on, if you're not on that wave come December 20th, then you will experience Saturn saying, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing something different. So if you're not focused on elevating and accentuating and adjusting to the world, then you will suffer. And it's not to say that you are in a bad place or to demean you or to punish you. It is to change you, to transform you, to evolve. See, nature evolves with its environment. Metal doesn't evolve. You know, your iPhone 4 does not evolve to an iPhone 5, right? You have to get an iPhone 5. So if you hoping that what you have, your technology so you had a degree and you got a job, well, that's an old way of thinking. That is an old way of thinking that will not sustain you in this new age. You have to have the information. You have to have the ability to upgrade and update yourself. And you cannot think that by living by 1950 ideals and having 1950 goals that you will make it into 2020. So the new and better you should emerge, but it requires effort on your behalf to make the necessary adjustments. I really want to take notice to an epidemic that's happening in our society that, you know, is not going to be talked about in the news, but that does not make it detrimental. So we talk about the crack epidemic, but in the time that the crack epidemic was happening, it was not covered in the news. We only know the crack epidemic for its tragic results in a past tense form. In the 80s, in the 90s, when people were experiencing the crack epidemic, they was just living life like me and you are living life now, and taking the cues from the media about what's going on. Oh, it's a new Star Wars movie out. Oh, it's a new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let's go take the family to go see a movie and let's have a good time. Meanwhile, it is an epidemic, and you know, people are suffering on the inside. So this has to do with Saturn and Capricorn, because the last time Saturn and Capricorn was in Capricorn was 1988 to 1991 or something around that area, and that's when that crack epidemic was surging, and crack cocaine use in major cities across the United States were rising, and our families were ruined and our communities were ruined. Now, the opioid epidemic or the opioid crisis is the rapid increase of the use of prescription and non-prescription opioid drugs in the United States. And this began when the crack epidemic, in the late 1990s, and continuing throughout the first 2 decades of the 2000s. So here we are again in the face of a drug epidemic that we can ignore and act like this can't happen to us. This is not going to affect us. But this is the key to these epidemics. Nobody is talking about the cause or the solution to the epidemic. They are simply giving you drugs to treat drugs. And they're not telling you the psychological disorder or imbalance that is causing you these feelings. Now, the pain that you are feeling and the discord and the misunderstanding is that you, and everything that you're feeling negative is because of lack of enthusiasm, the lack of Saturn in your life, the lack of God in your life. And so these four ranges of positive emotions that we are just not, as human beings, we are not interfacing in. We are not interfacing in gratitude. We are not interfacing in real love and attachment and commitment to each other. We will drop a motherfucker in a heartbeat because we don't trust ourselves enough to love another, to be forgiving of people who I don't agree with, or, you know, things of that nature. We are not amused by what goes on in our lives because we have no real goals that are there to satisfy the soul, to satisfy the God within. So, of course, there is no pleasure. Of course, we are seeking pleasure. Of course, we are seeking drugs because we do not know how to access true pleasure. We do not. What you expect us to be grateful for a job that we feel enslaved by? That we are not even able to, live a free and expansive life? How are we going to be grateful because of that? The only thing that is truly to be grateful of is enthusiasm, and that is just the God that lives within you. So understanding yourself will be understanding the key to the Saturn and Capricorn. What are you willing to put effort in for the next 3 years for you to develop? It is in my second house. So figuring out what house that this Saturn transit in is important. So please get a reading from somebody, look up your natal chart, figure out where this transit is in your chart, so you can begin, or maybe you just know where you need to put effort in. Where do you have your skills at? Where do you need to expand over these next 3 years so you can become a real boss? Because Saturn is not here to discipline you. Saturn is here to reward you, but he's not going to reward you for just doing whatever you want to do. And it's not to say whatever you want to do like I'm controlling you, or like your mama's controlling you. You know within yourself the right and wrong. So just tapping into that. 1 second. Okay. Tomorrow is Christmas. I'm recording this December 24th, Christmas Eve. So what I've been doing each weekly astrology is to discuss some Orishas and just have the African discussion and incorporate it into the astrology, because a lot of us think that, quote unquote, people outside of ourselves have created this astrological system, and that's just not true. The ancient African, the ancient melanated person studied the stars just like anybody else, and they got this information from us, and so all of these things are one and the same. So when we talk about the Orishas in particular, we're talking about Oshun and babalu-aye. Oshun is the goddess of the rivers, the goddess of the waters. Babalu-aye is the father of the world. So babalu-aye will be Capricorn. Oshun will be Venus. So Venus enters Capricorn on Christmas. The interesting thing about babalu-aye is that he actually died it was a celebration, and he was told, because he had the ability to have sex with as many women as he wanted to, and the women loved to have sex with him and things of that nature. And so it was a day where, they said, we know you like to get your little sleep on, and we know you like to do whatever you want to do. We know that you're a god. We know that you have this limited power, but we need you to be controlled today. Don't have sex with the woman today. And so he didn't listen to Olafai. And so Olafai, he didn't do anything, but babalu-aye ended up having sex with the woman. He got syphilis and ended up dying 3 days later. So when he did die, all the women in the kingdom were sad. They missed babalu-aye. They enjoyed babalu-aye because he gave them the structure and the discipline and the order for them to be free. Because without babalu-aye, they weren't able to be free. Oshun being the main one. Oshun said, you know what? I'm going up to heaven to get my dude back. So she ascended up to heaven and tried to get babalu-aye back. Olafai, the god in heaven, was like, no. She's like, all right, I'm gonna give you some of this honey and see if you change your mind. So one night Olafai was asleep. She smeared honey across his lips It's just symbology for the yoni. You know what I'm saying? Story making sense. So she smeared the honey on his lips. He woke up like, what was that? I want so because this is, the heavenly principle, right? This is, he never been down to earth and got none of this, some of this honey. So she smeared it on his lips, and he wanted it bad, And so she's like, I got all of this honey, but you got the power to bring my man back down to earth. So what is it gonna be? And he couldn't live without that honey. So he ended up bringing babalu-aye back to life, and so he could come back to earth and continue to do his things. So this story, symbolically, what are they talking about? They're talking about the canal. So imagine the world without the canal that the river basin forms. That is babalu-aye. That is Capricorn. Venus is the ocean, or the water that flows through the earth that gives us the water for us to survive. So it's not to say that the water or the feminine principle is more important than the masculine principle. They need each other. So in your life, you need structure for the water, for the creative, for the spirit to flow through. I hope that makes sense. The following week, January 1st, we have a full moon in Cancer, and this happens at 11 degrees. Cancer, 11 degrees Capricorn. 1111, that's the gateway. This is the largest moon of the year. This is the first full moon of the year. This is a super moon. The moon in Cancer is its ruling sign. Just like Saturn and Capricorn, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. When the sign is so if you are born with the Saturn and Capricorn, that means that you are particularly special because you particularly have the skills to be blessed. A lot of people that are on the internet, millennials and things of that nature, are on the internet. They have this transit, but they may be a little bit too disorganized or lack the structure to be successful. But if you were to ever see a millennial with structure, with a goal in mind, you're dealing with the unstoppable force. And that's why a lot of these children are addicted to the lean, the Molly, the Percocets, and the things of that nature to remove that structure, because with that structure, they would be amazing. So the moon in Cancer is a heightened time for psychic abilities, is a heightened time to really listen to your emotions, really listen to how you feel. Now, I know New Year's, people are kicking it, parties, you want to go out, you want to have fun, but really follow your instincts, really follow how you feel. This is a new world. These people, this world is unpredictable. And I'm not saying not to go out and have fun, but if you are feeling to not go out and have fun, or if you're feeling not to engage with a particular person, you're not feeling them energies, then follow that. Follow your feelings, follow your instincts, follow your guts. Do not ignore your feelings. Do not ignore your guts, because a lot of people have I knew I shouldn't have went. Like don't experience that, because the moon is in Cancer on the first of the year. So that's just, they already tell you that full moons is a crazy point in the world. So just imagine that energy with the first of the year in this government and things of that nature. Just be very, very careful and really trust yourself, but have fun. This full moon in Cancer will be opposite the black moon Lilith. The black moon Lilith is the point in between the earth and the farthest point to where the moon is away from the earth. So wherever the moon is away from the earth, that middle point is the black moon Lilith, and it's an actual charted point on the constellation chart that moves throughout the constellation. So it is not just a particular transit, it is like an asteroid or like a comet or things of that nature. So it's an actual astrological point. We all have a black moon Lilith, meaning we all have an unconscious impulse, like you really want to be a stripper, like in your heart, like you want to be a stripper, or you like really want to be a pimp, but your mama just kill you. So that's really the black moon Lilith. It is the unadulterated freak or darkness thoughts that people have that, you know, you would never speak of, type of deal. So this energy will be opposing your emotions. So the emotions that you're not afraid to show. You would hug your mama in front of anybody, but you wouldn't like talk to a prostitute in front of those same people. But you might still have those same emotions. So this energy is to put some wild to your corny, and maybe put some corny to your wild, and kind of like blend it and balance it so you can have a particular flow to this new moon energy. So if you do go out, be a little careful, you know, have the designated driver, have the buddy system, but really have fun, you know what I'm saying? If you don't go out, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you've been out all year, and maybe this is a time for you to invite that person that you've been wanting to kick it with for, you know what I'm saying, all year over. Do something different with this energy. Balance out the wild with the domestic, and, you know, just have fun with it. And that's just basically the outlook of this week in astrology. Just really giving you just some things to look at, and really deal with your pain on a psychological level. Like, stop dealing with the surface, really stop dealing with the effects, really deal with the cause. Just be sure to check me out, www.hoodmystic.com, hoodmystic@gmail.com for readings. If you on the gram, make sure you follow me, I follow back. Just make sure if you hit me up for readings, or you need help with the spirituality, you really want to tap into the God within you, because that's really the focus in 2018. I'm not really doing personal readings. Like, I really don't care about if you break up with your boyfriend or if you're going to get a new job. That is becoming more and more irrelevant to me, so I can't have a clear sight onto that type of surface energy. I'm more onto developing the God within, so that's more to the spiritual advisory, but I still do readings. You can still ask questions, but I'm just going to give it to you straight how your soul wants it. So that being said, man, I hope everybody has a wonderful holidays, a wonderful evening. I wonder if there's any questions or anything like that. If anybody's still on the live, I'm here to answer any type of questions, any low-key quick readings, we can do that. But if not, I'm gonna end this video.